An Office Depot employee was fired for refusing to print a poster for a Charlie Kirk memorial. James Asher posted on X saying that he ordered a poster for a vigil honoring Kirk, but 30 minutes before the setup of the vigil, an Office Depot employee called and said that they would not print the poster. Asher said that he was told it was, quote, because it was for Charlie Kirk. Office Depot has responded to the incident, calling the behavior unacceptable and insensitive. The employee involved has been fired. Now, this is one of many instances where employees have been fired or investigations have been launched due to their public or social media comments made in the wake of Kirk's death. And joining us to discuss this a little bit more this morning is 9 News legal expert Whitney Traylor. Whitney, good morning.
Good morning.
So what does this fall under exactly? Is this a First Amendment issue, employee law, contract law?
That's a great question, and it's a great starting place. It really depends on who the employer is, because if you are employed by the government, whether that's the federal, state, city, you do have First Amendment rights. You have a lot of different rights. You actually have a protected right in your job. So before they can take your job, you're entitled to certain due process. So it really depends. And then, of course, it depends if you have a contract or not.
Right.
So a lot of employees, particularly in Colorado, are at will. So that means they can be fired for a good reason, a bad reason, or no reason at all.
Excluding discrimination.
Right. They can't be fired based on their race or gender or national origin.
Sexual
those types of things.
orientation, yeah.
All of that, yes.
Right.
Those are all protected traits. But it depends on, again, if you have a contract. So there's a number of variables that will go into whether or not you could be fired for your what you say.
Now, private companies, of course, have a little bit more leverage when it comes to terminating employees when they say things that the company doesn't agree with.
Yeah, private companies have more leeway because they don't have to comply with the First Amendment. So now there are things where if you're a private company and you're saying things of a public nature, then there can be certain protections. And in Colorado, we have the lawful off-duty conduct statute. So what that says is you can't be fired for activities that you're engaging in that are lawful, that when you're not working and when you're not on the employer's work site. They call it the smoker's rights statute. So like if you smoked, for example, that's a lawful activity. They can't fire you for that off-duty conduct. So if you're on social media, you would have a claim that, hey, this is my lawful off-duty conduct. I can express this. But again, if it's brings disrepute to the company, if it's in the employee handbook, if you have a contract, there's all these other variables. But yes, as a private employee, you have more rights or more protections in that regard.
We've seen this playing out at two different levels, one at the state level and at the national level too. Where does this actually fall when it comes to the investigations?
Well, it's going to be both, actually. It's going to be state and federal law. So, for example, Title VII protects us from discrimination in the workplace. That's a federal statute. But then we have the Colorado Anti-Discrimination Act, CATA, which is a state law. So it really depends. And in some states, Colorado is very employee friendly. California, a number of these other states are employee friendly. So Colorado, this is a good state for employees, a little more difficult for employers.
So let me ask you, because for the people that say, well, I have my First Amendment rights.
Yeah.
How does that meet when the company is able to terminate you based off they don't like your speech? How do you express your First Amendment rights without violating what the company, wants?
Right, that's a great question, and it really depends on what the speech actually is. Is it a matter of public concern? So if it's something that's in the public square is what they call it, then you're going to have certain protections. But again, these First Amendment rights are only, you can't go if you work at Applebee's and say, hey, I have a First Amendment right. No, you don't. That's a private company. They don't have to honor those First Amendment, those constitutional protections that the government would have to do. So again, if you work for the city, the state, the federal government, you would have some of those First Amendment protections. Yep.
Okay, understood. Thank you very much, Whitney, for coming in. We appreciate it. Sorry you missed Ice Cube.
I know.
I know you're bummed about that. We'll see if we can get him back just so you can meet him.
All right.
We'll be right back.